The 19th century was a time of unprecedented change. The growth of the Industrial Revolution, westward expansion, advances in medicine and science influenced changes in lifestyle and attitudes long held in centuries before. Even the way people mourned and honored the dead began to change. This is the macabre tourist. In Europe and America, it was most common to bury the dead and memorialize them with a marker or monument. This was usually done in a church cemetery, where the deceased and their family worshipped. However, these church cemeteries were soon to become overcrowded. In some cities, such as Paris, churches began to exhume hundreds of thousands of graves and created an ossuary to house the bones of the dead. In London and in America, the Victorian attitude was to create large park-like cemeteries, separate from a place of worship where mourning the dead became an art form. Magnolia Cemetery in Charleston, South Carolina, is such a place. Founded in 1849 on the banks of the Cooper River, Magnolia is the oldest public cemetery in Charleston. Winding pathways and scenic ponds, surrounded by large live oak trees with hanging Spanish moss, encouraged Victorian-era Charlestonians to spend the day among their deceased loved ones. During and after the American Civil War, Magnolia became the final resting place for over 2,000 Confederate soldiers, including 5 generals. When the H.L. Hunley was discovered in 2000, the crew of the ill-fated submarine were also laid to rest at Magnolia. Today, Magnolia Cemetery is on the National Registry of Historic Places. The eclectic mix of period ironwork, sculpture, mausoleums, and graves are beautiful examples of the 19th century garden cemetery movement and funerary. Many visitors find the mausoleums some of the most fascinating. One is open and empty, showing 4 shelves of stone that once held the family caskets. There is also an Egyptian revival mausoleum in the shape of a pyramid, as well as one of the last remaining receiving tombs in the United States. Magnolia holds some 33,000 souls, dating nearly 200 years. If it is like any number of old cemeteries, especially considering the turbulent history in which many of the internments lived, one can only assume many still silently walk this grand old city of the dead. Until next time, memento mori.